Good day, class. Today, I'm going to discuss the part of research wherein we are going to state the research problem and formulate our research questions. Now, first, let's define what is a research problem. Known as the research puzzle or the problematique, it is the formal articulation of a specific topic which is addressed through research. Now we all know that in research our aim is to answer a specific question or solve or find a solution to a specific problem. Now when we say problem, it does not always have to be a dilemma. It can be simply finding the relationship between two things or evaluating a certain aspect of something. So the problem is not literally a problem. It can be something. That needs to be researched. And another thing about the research problem is that researchers need to problematize the chosen topic and identify the specific situations. So that's what you do. The specific situation, problem, or issue. So in the research problem, we need to be very specific with the situation, the problem, and the issue, because if it's too broad, there will be problems when it comes to researching that specific problem. Okay, so that's the definition of research problem. So there are two ways to state the research problem. First, we have the interrogative statement. When we are stating the research problem as an interrogative statement, we are stating it as a question. So for example, what percentage of Manila private universities consider the use of grammar textbooks as the most effective way to help college students attain communicative competence? So here, in this example, we are using the interrogative statement. Now, the next type of or the next way to state the research problem is by declarative statement. So we are going to just rephrase our interrogative statement so that it does not come out as a question. So the main objective of this study is to find out the percentage of Manila universities, so on and so forth. So it's the same research problem. It's just stated in different ways. Now, whether or not you use one of these, okay, if you use interrogative statement, that is fine. If you use the declarative statement, that is also fine. But now, modern researchers usually use interrogative statement. So you may use both. They can be used interchangeably, but you must also consider the advice of or the format of the institution wherein you are conducting the research. Okay, so next let's go to research questions. Once you have stated your problem, we go on to research questions. Okay, the research questions, of course, these are the questions that we aim to answer by the end of our research. So first, we have of course, the research questions. These are their characteristics. First, you should have a specific inquiry. When we say specific inquiry, we are not going to ask broad questions. We are going to ask questions that are specifically in line with our research problem. Next is it provides a clear direction. When we are a research question that provides a clear direction is a research. It means that once we read, or the reader reads the specific question or the research question rather, they will know what type of research you're going to conduct, what kind of study this is, if it's quantitative or qualitative, what kind of data you will be gathering, so on and so forth. So we need to be clear with what direction the research is going in. So that is one of the characteristics of a research question. So another is that it's the core of the study. Once again, I said earlier that researchers aim to find answers to questions. So research questions are essentially the core or the life source of your study, because that is where you are going to base your all of your research. So our aim is to answer these questions. So we need to really formulate good research questions that are worthy to be answered by research. Excuse me. Next is we have the research question is also known as a sub question. So that's another name for research questions. Next is why core of the study. Why is the research question the core of the study? First, it guides the literature search. Okay, so once we have our research questions, once we have an idea of the direction of our research, we can have a good guide for our literature search, which is our RRLs or our RRSs. So it's very important that we first define our research questions. Next, it leads researchers to what design is to be used. So when we say design here, that we are referring to the research design. So that is part of the importance of the research question. This will also define what research design the researchers are going to use. Next, it directs what to collect and from whom. So of course, in our research questions, we're going to ask who are the respondents, and what data we are going to collect from the respondents. Next is it is important in analyzing and presenting data. Of course, our data and our analysis are always in line with our research questions. That's why it is important for the study. And last, it provides a clear sense of what the research is and what it wishes to achieve. So in many ways, the research questions is very much the essence of the research, in terms in a way that it gives the research clarity, and it gives and it tells us what the research wants to achieve. Okay, so those are the reasons why the research questions are the core of the study. So research questions are, of course, since the name is already stated there, they can be presented as interrogative statements. So we have here, what components of grammar textbooks for communicative textbook work for communicative competence development? How many Manila private universities require? Okay, so if you see here, these examples are in line with the example earlier with the research problem. That's because our research questions should always be in line with our research problem. Okay, so if your research problem is about marketing strategies, your your research questions should be about marketing strategies. The difference is the research problem is the broad question, meanwhile the the research question are the specific questions of the research. I'll say that again. The research problem is the broad question of the research, meanwhile the research question is the specific questions of the study. So please remember that research problem, broad question; research questions, specific questions. Okay, so there are some common types of research questions. First, we have descriptive, comparative, and relational. Let's go first to defining this descriptive. Okay, a descriptive research question objectively describes particular characteristics of a person, group, institution, or phenomenon. So from the word descriptive, we are just going to describe. These are used for, of course, descriptive researches with, okay, with usually only one variable. So we have here, how many calories does average American consume per day? Okay, that is a descriptive research question because we aim to describe how many calories or the consumption of calories per day of an American. Okay, next we have, what are the factors that influence Filipino college students to strive for academic honors? So, sorry, it's missing question mark there, but yeah, that is also a descriptive research question because we are aiming to describe the factors here. Okay, one of these are quantitative and one is qualitative, so we can see that the descriptive research question can be used for both. So this is a qualitative because we can measure how many calories, and this is qualitative. This is quantitative because we can measure calories, and this is qualitative because we are looking for factors. Next is comparative research. Comparative research questions compare two or more characteristics of two or more groups or people. From the word comparative, of course, we are comparing. So despite similar socioeconomic and political growth trajectories in 1970s, how was South Korea able to sustain its economic rise, its rise in economic development? So here, it is a comparative question because we are comparing the socioeconomic and political growth trajectories of South Korea in the 1970s. So that is a comparative research question. So this is quantitative. We are going to because those political growth and socioeconomic and political growth trajectories are things that can be measured in numbers. Okay, so that's comparative research question. We are comparing two things. And last is relational research question. Okay, relational research questions seek to understand the relationship between two or more aspects of one or more persons, groups, institutions, or phenomena. Aspects must be quantifiable. The relationship can be association, interaction, or causation. When we say association, they are simply associated with each other. They have a certain connection. When we say interaction, these two variables have interact or they affect each other in some way. And in causation, one is the cause and the other is the effect. Okay, so those are the types of relationships in relational research question. So here are some of our examples. So first here, what is the relationship between study time and exam scores amongst university students? So what we're going to look at the relationship between study time and exam scores. Next is, what is the relationship between a locally elected politician's ability to bring development to their constituents and their family's political history? So here we have family's political history and politicians' ability to bring development. So once again, those are we are looking for the relationships of those two. So that's relational research question. So remember from the keyword relation. So when we are doing a relational research question, we are asking whether two things have a relation. So remember that if you are going to have a descriptive research, meaning you only have one variable, you will use descriptive research questions. If you are using a comparative or causal comparative type of research, we are going to have the comparative research questions. But if you are using a relational a correlational study or a correlational type of research, you are going to use the relational research questions. Okay, so again, the research questions will define the direction of your study, so make sure that you are using the right type of research questions when you are presenting them in your research. Now, so here is the process of developing a research question. First is identify a broad topic area that you are interested in studying. So we've already done this. You already have your topics and your working titles. So next is select a specific research problem you want to investigate under the topic area. Again, we have already gone through this. You already have your topics and titles. Okay, narrow down research problem and capture it in a single main research question. So this is what we're going to do moving forward. After we have okay, you already have your titles, you already have your topics. Now you're going to formulate a main research question, and then after that you are going to break down the main research questions or the main research problem into sub questions, which are the specific subject or specific research question. So first we have a main research question, and then we have sub questions for that. Okay, so these are the steps, or this is the process. So we've already gone through 1 and 2. In the following weeks, after with our consultations, we will go with 3 and 4. Okay, so that is the process of developing a research question. So if you have any questions, you may email me, or you may message me in preferably in our group chat. That way it can be addressed to all. This little man right here is Sir Raymond Paul Almazora. He is the proprietor of the slides that I'm using today, so great thanks to him. Once again, thank you for watching the video. Thank you for listening. For your activity this week, you will simply be revising your titles in accordance to the title defense panel's recommendations, and next week we will work on those titles along with your research questions. So that's all for today. I'll stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you when I see you.